Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and for the first part of the August 2025 news. So let's get started with the Falcom merchandise first, and we're going to be starting with the bracerguild.com, which is a shop dedicated to trails. They do plushies, keychains and all this kind of stuff. They opened around about 3 months ago and they have been showing off their plushies, the newer plushies that are coming out, so stuff like Estelle, Elaine and all this kind of stuff. If you do like your plushies, could be worth checking out because I know a lot of people do like them. But they do have some cool stuff on their website, so it's worth checking out. And also, this could be worth checking out as well, especially if you're a TCG player. As soon as I bought Wave 3 of the Japanese release of the Trails trading card game, the English version was announced. It's coming out on the 26th of September, so Pinbox put it up on their website for Wave 1. So the Japanese version is in Wave 3 at the moment. And of course, we're going to be starting with the global version in Wave 1. On Pinbox at least, those booster boxes have completely sold out. I managed to get one. Check with other retailers, maybe your local card shop could get one for you. I imagine not many of them are going to be holding this simply because of how niche it is. But if you do want a little bit of extra memorabilia for the Trail series, there you go. I mean, you're getting it in card form right here. Apparently it's quite easy to pick up as well. I've had a little look on the rule set for this game. There was a Steam forum post which basically outlined the main phases and all this kind of stuff and how the cards work. And you can also put a draft together with like 5 booster packs, so it's really not that bad. But yeah, as soon as I saw the English version, I had to have it. I mean, I've opened my Wave 3 booster box, my Japanese version. It's pretty much just artwork from the games, which, to be honest, I kind of expected. I didn't think that Falcom would have extra money just set aside for new art for all of these characters. But I like card games, and I like Trails, so put the two together, you can't really go wrong. There you go. Now, if we move over to the developer news now, first of all, there is going to be a collab between Sky First Chapter and a game called Last Claudia. Now, I've never heard of Last Claudia. It's been around since, I believe, 2019. This collab is going to be happening on August the 21st. No idea what that's going to entail. But to give you an idea of what games Last Claudia has worked with in the past, they've worked with Nier, Persona, Tales, so you know, they've got a little bit of a history there with collabs with other RPG series, whatever that's going to be. Now, I'm not a big fan of mobile games, but something to check out if you want to. The last of the news is all going to be based around Sky First Chapter, as you probably would expect, because we are so close to release now. Because first of all, we've got a new trailer that has come out. First of all, I'd rather just show you this trailer in all of its glory, and then we can move on after that. So let's move over and enjoy it.
エステルに深刻な顔は似合わないから汚い手でエステルに触るな。
声優劇士の資格を得るために旅に出るのもいいかもしれん。
お仕置きが必要みたいね。せい！頼んだわオリビエ。
もちろん。
剣は人を守るために振るうように教わりました。
何よりも大切なもの、それは愛と平和だということを。
高速巡洋艦アルセイ、それがこの艦の名前だ。
ギルドの連絡にあった新人遊撃士とは君たちのことだったが。
待ちなさいっての。とりゃー。
染み渡るねー。マイル。
臆したかオスカー。やるなユリウス。
泣いてもいい、わめいてもいいから、まずは自分の足で立ち上がる。シュラと勝つのならば全てを捨てる覚悟が必要だ。
おじいちゃん、これ以上はダメだよ。
止めてくれるな。
エステルよ、エステルブライト。名前よ名前、私もさっき言ったでしょ。
僕の名前は
奇跡 The First
2025年9月発売。
The more I see, the more I cannot wait for it. I really like how they've recreated certain aspects of the original trailer in this new one as well. You know, with the orbments and all this kind of stuff and the spinning. I'm not going to say what that is because it is a potential spoiler. But there are certain aspects of this new trailer that have been remade, so to speak, from the original one. And like I say, the more I see about it, the more excited I get for it. I really cannot wait. I mean, we're literally about, what, a month away from this game releasing? It can't come soon enough, man. So, yeah, it's great. And Kondo, of course, has been talking about this game a little bit as well. And some people were a little bit concerned because he stated that this game might be double the length of the original. So he stated that a programmer played the game and he was thinking that the original was around about 40 hours long. This programmer played the game for 80 hours. Now, it's a given anyway to me that the game is going to be longer than the original. The cinematography is going to be more intense. You would think the environments are going to be a bit more vast, even though they're going to replicate the original. And obviously you've got the new content that's going to be there too. So it doesn't surprise me that there's going to be just more in the game. But I don't think 80 hours is going to be how much it's going to be. Like, if you actually look at what he says in regards to this, I'm just going to bring it up right now. So he says, I feel like the playtime for the original version would be a bit under 40 hours, but when we had a programmer meeting, the main programmer said that it took them 80 hours until they cleared Trails in the Sky first chapter. This included a considerable amount of exploration related content across the map, which could have been one of the reasons. There are a lot of elements related to exploration here compared to the past entries. If you do all that, properly listen to the voices during events and do the quests, it will take twice as long as the original. It's going to come down to what type of player you are. If you're a person who's going to be talking to all the NPCs, checking every nook and cranny of the game, of course you're going to be spending more time on it probably. But I mean, even the original had a long run times. There are people who have played the original for like over 80 to 90 hours. I mean, I've played that game 4 times and I've never gone over a 50-hour playthrough. And that's doing basically every single side quest in the game and getting all the bracer points. So if I had to hazard a guess, I think the average playtime for Trails in the Sky first chapter, if I'm hazarding a guess, is going to be about 50 hours. I'm going to say 50 hours, purely based on the fact that we know there's going to be extra content there, and it might even be less for people who have played the original who know where to look and all this kind of stuff. If some of this stuff has been drawn over from the original, so like, you know, hidden side quests have been moved over from the original to the remake, people who have played the original will know where to look. So I think for a veteran of the original, you're probably looking maybe 45 hours. For a new player, maybe 50. That's what I'm thinking at the very least. But you know, this doesn't concern me. Like I say, it's going to depend on the person. It's going to depend on their play style. Let people play the game how they want. So this is fine to me. Okay, onto the merchandise now, and we're going to be starting with First for Figures, who have revealed a statue of Vice from Skies of Arcadia for $516. That's for the exclusive edition. Now, I know, it sounds like a lot of money. First for Figures statues are generally good quality, and they are expensive, there's no doubt about that, but you know, if you have got some money to set aside, it could be worth checking out if you really want to. But yeah, that's pretty cool. To Konami now, because the Suikoden anime, that's going to be premiering in 2026, so we know that this anime is going to be based on Suikoden 2. Anime based on games, they're generally average, you know, they're nothing crazy. I mean, the Riser anime came and went, the Cold Steel anime was terrible, the Sakuna anime came and went. It's going to replicate, obviously, the main beats of the game. It's going to be there for people who want a bit of nostalgia, who want to relive the game in anime form. It'll probably scratch an itch for a certain amount of people, but I'd say for a general anime watcher, maybe not so much. I can't remember how many episodes they said, maybe a 25 episode season, potentially, maybe even more than that. I think they did say they'd do more if there was more they wanted to adapt, but that's cool. And talking about anime, there is going to be a new Persona 4 anime. So that's going to coincide with the remake. So that's going to be written and directed by Vivsipop, who is the creator of Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. I don't know who this is, to be honest. I have no idea, and that's no disrespect to them. I just don't watch too much TV at the moment. I don't know if that's an anime or a TV show or something like that. But, you know, Persona 4 Revival, whenever that comes out, there's an anime going to be coming out of it as well, so there you go. Alright, now to the developer news, and we're going to be starting with Square Enix, because they released their consolidated financial reports for Q1 2025. And it raised a few eyebrows. In short, sales were down across the board, so operating income was down 16.8% compared to the same period last year, net sales were down 15.2% compared to the same period last year, but interestingly, profits were up during that same period. Now, looking at the fall in sales, some were stating that it was an indictment against Square, that it's an indication of a failing company, and they ran with that narrative. Now, do I think there's any reason to be worried here? No, there is no reason to worry, because you can explain and rationalise these results. If you've been paying attention to Square's releases, it will be pretty obvious as to why this has happened. Q1 2024, so let's wind the clock back a bit here. Q1 2024, that's April to June, there was the release of 3 Kingdom Hearts titles on Steam called Integram Masterpiece. So that was what, 1.5 and 2.5, 2.8, and then 3 and Relink, was it? I can't remember. I haven't played a Kingdom Hearts game in a while now anyway. But, you know, coming to another accessible digital platform, it no doubt aided Square's financials, not to mention they had some carryover from the original Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PS5, which while that did release in the previous quarter, it still had some sales that trickled over to Q1 of 2024, you would imagine as well. Now, if we move forward to the present day, Q1 2025, what has actually released during this period, which is April to June 2025? What did Square release during that period? From my memory, you've got Bravely Default Flying Fairy, which is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, and a key card, which of course a fair amount of people aren't going to buy. Saga Frontier 2 Remastered, which Shadow dropped out of nowhere. Good game, by the way, worth checking out. And Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox. Now, you could argue that Dragon Quest III HD 2D could be included purely due to its greater than expected success, especially in Japan, but the truth is that Square have had very little releases during Q1 2025, so it's understandable why sales have gone down for this period. Now, it's also worth remembering that Square are currently in that process of shifting over to a multi-platform strategy, which is part of their wider 3-year initiative, and they do seem to be following through on that. You know, it's clear that PS5 exclusives weren't cutting it, so they're bringing games to platforms like PC, Xbox, and Switch as well. Maybe not at the same time, but they're at least doing that. And it wasn't just in the HD game sections that profits fell. The MMO section took a hit, which is predominantly Final Fantasy XIV, which again, that doesn't surprise me because people have been disappointed with the offerings of Dawn Trail in many respects, and the mobile division has also seen sales fall, but profits have risen. Again, that makes sense because a lot of titles were cancelled or shut down, like Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier and Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, so sales potential goes down, but in terms of cost, in terms of maintaining them, there's less to maintain, so costs have gone down, it makes sense. Quite simply, these figures do not concern me, and it doesn't seem to concern the shareholders either. If you look at Square Enix's share price, which is basically a measure of the confidence investors have in the future of Square Enix, you can see that it just keeps trending up. Even on the day when the report released, which was August the 8th, it still kept rising. And that's because the shareholders have complete confidence in the future value that Square Enix has. Not only are they in the midst of a restructuring, they have a lot in the pipeline, even within the next year. You've got stuff like Octopath Traveler 0, The Adventures of Elliot, which even as a new IP will probably do well purely on Team Asano's name alone. What else you got here? You got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D is coming out, of course, and we also have Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evilest Chronicles. So there's 4 notable releases within the year, and lest we forget, there are also some big releases still in the pipeline like Dragon Quest 12, Kingdom Hearts 4, and the final part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. In short, Square Enix just had a dry patch during Q1 2025, but they have so much coming out later in the year and further on into the years that there's nothing to worry about. I mean, you can look at it on the surface and go, oh, doom and gloom, but there's nothing to worry about, and the shareholders know there's nothing to worry about as well, so there you go. Alright, Sabotage Studio now, and they have confirmed following the release of Throws of the Watchmaker, the free DLC for Sea of Stars, that there is no more DLC planned for the game, and they are now moving on to a new project called Sparrow at the moment. Makes sense. They've done everything they need to do. They've delivered, I believe they've delivered on all of their Kickstarter goals. I think Throws of the Watchmaker was the last part of the Kickstarter stretch goals for Sea of Stars, and I think they ended it on a high. Like I say, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Sea of Stars, but I do think it was better with Frozen the Watchmaker. So they ended it on a high, they're now moving on to something else. No problem whatsoever. They did a good job with that overall. Tokyo Games now, Tokyo Games and Kodoka. Remember a game called Tribe 9? The reason we're bringing this up is because Kodoka and Tokyo Games were releasing artwork and storylines, or, you know, arcs of certain characters that were never released in the game. So they had plans for all of this stuff, but they never followed through on it because, for whatever reason, the game wasn't financially successful or financially viable to keep afloat. But Kodoka himself has now come out and said he intends to continue the story of Tribe 9 as a non-profit doujin work. And doujin works are kind of like, how can I say, self-published works, so basically doing it in his own time. But the fact that Kodoka has stated that he's willing to do this as a doujin work, not for profit, and taking up his own time to do that, I can only respect that. Clearly he had a lot of hope with this. And at the end of the day, he's kind of shown that profits isn't really what Tokyo Games is all about. I mean, if the 100-line Last Defense Academy went badly, it would have bankrupted the company. So it's quite clear they care more about their creative process than they do about the profits. Profits are good. I mean, it keeps the company afloat, but stuff like this, I can only respect the man for doing it. So fans of Tribe 9, something to look forward to. Over to Gust now, because the Atelier Riser trilogy has topped 2.5 million units sold, so it's by far and away the most successful sub-series within the Atelier franchise. 2.5 million units for Atelier, being how niche it is. Even now, it's still quite niche. It's good. You know, good sales figures. And of course, there's the DX bundle coming out later on. We got a little bit more information upon that coming later on in the upcoming releases, so stick around for that. But good sales figures for Riser. Now, Sandfall Interactive. Of course, with the success of Clair Obscur Expedition 33, they've been going to studios like Square Enix. They've met the team behind Stellar Blade and Shift Up Games. They've been going all over the place and like sharing creative processes and all this kind of stuff. It's really, really cool. But they have also stated that, because no doubt, with the success of Clair Obscur, people have come to them and said, hey, do you intend to expand your studio? Are you going to make it bigger? They've basically said, no, we're not going to do that. We intend to keep Sandfall Interactive as a small developer, despite the success of the game, which makes total sense. It makes total sense because the whole reason Sandfall Interactive exists is because they wanted to get away from the bigger influence of Ubisoft. You know, Ubisoft, to them, stifled creativity, and they didn't want that, so they created Sandfall Interactive, which allowed them to basically do whatever they wanted. The vision of the game was uninhibited by business or marketing or anything like that. This game was basically as they wanted it to be, and it makes sense that they don't want to, you know, become bigger again, because that's exactly what they broke away from in the first place. So good on them. If they make games like Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on a consistent basis, they can do whatever the heck they want. They can rub their ass across the floor for all I care. It doesn't really matter. So good for them. Wild Bunch Studios now, and who are Wild Bunch Studios? They are the team behind Armed Fantasia, the spiritual successor to Wild Arms, because they have put out a little bit of an update on battle footage for the game. It was due to be coming out in March 2025, it did get delayed. I believe it's still struggling to find a publisher, much like Penny Blood 2. I mean, we've seen a situation earlier this year with Valzara Radiant Echoes, where even though the Kickstarter was a success, the project failed. I hope that's not going to happen with, you know, Armed Fantasia or Penny Blood, but again, it all comes down to that publisher, man. They need that publisher, and I mean, at least they're still putting out updates. It does look pretty good. I want to see more about it, but I understand that updates are going to be slow if they just don't have the resources to do it, so hopefully they can get that sorted soon. But a game that has found a publisher is a turn-based RPG called Forge of the Fae. So some people may have seen the trailer for this, the announcement trailer of this, and it's going to be published by Deck 13 Spotlight, who were the same ones who did Crosscode and Chained Echoes. So it's going to be coming out in 2027. They're obviously very familiar with indie releases, very good indie releases as well. Chained Echoes and Crosscode, great games, or so I hear at least for Crosscode. Coming out in 2027, it's coming to all modern platforms except Nintendo Switch 2. But let's be real, if it's coming out in 2027, it most likely will be coming to Nintendo Switch 2 as well. It does look good. I just hope that it comes out without any sort of issue. It doesn't look like Deck 13 Spotlight really gets involved in the creative process, which is good, as long as Datadyne, who are the developers of Forge of Fae, can basically deliver on their vision of the game. I think they've got something really good there. So 2027, keep that marked out in your calendar. I don't know when in 2027, but yeah, keep it marked in your calendar. Alright, to the upcoming releases now. We're going to be starting with one delay. A delivery sim RPG called Calamity Angel Special Delivery has been delayed till 2026 in the West. It was meant to be coming out summer 2025 for PS4, PS5 and Nintendo Switch. It's an Idea Factory game, very niche offering, I imagine. I'll be honest, it's not something that really appealed to me. I mean, there's probably some players that might look at this and get a bit of joy out of it, but it doesn't look that impressive to me, so whatever. It's delayed, so there you go. Now some upcoming visual novels or simulation games. So Fate's Hollow Ataraxia, the remastered version, that's going to be releasing on Nintendo Switch and PC for August the 7th. And a game that I'm personally really looking forward to, Opus Prism Peak. That's going to be releasing on Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, in addition to its other platform, which is PC, and that's going to be releasing in fall. This one is very close to releasing, and I can't wait personally. I loved Opus Echo of Starsong, one of the best stories I've seen in a game. Very good writing. I'm expecting more from Opus Prism Peak from Sugono Inc. And I think they're going to do a good job with this one, and yeah, I personally can't wait for this one. This one's going to be good, I think. Okay, now to the upcoming RPGs. So, a JRPG-inspired turn-based RPG called Mirage Miracle Quest that is releasing on PC with no given release date. Looks like a sort of magical girl furry thing. For me personally, it's not the graphics, it's the art style. You know, graphics and art style are two different things to me. I don't care about graphics, I never have. Art style is another story though, and this art style doesn't really appeal to me, but it might be a good game, might be something worth checking out. A free-to-play turn-based RPG called Kaiju Number 8, that's coming out on PC and mobile August the 31st. This one's really cool. Well, I say really cool, it is still a mobile game, and I don't play mobile games, but a farming sim RPG called Sakuna Hinuka Junrei Tan, which is coming to PC and mobile. It's got no release date, and it's basically another game set within the Sakuna universe, like a spin-off title, but it's not the spin-off title that was announced earlier in the year, which is centered on Kokoroa. Maybe this is designed as a way of getting some more funds for the game, who knows. An action RPG called Hike Northern Lights that's coming out on PS5, Nintendo Switch and PC on September the 18th. Turn-based RPG Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 3, that's V Generation. That's coming out on Nintendo Switch in Asia, but that also has English support for fall 2025, so another option for those who maybe don't want the PS4 versions. Turn-based RPG Demon School, that's coming to all modern platforms except Nintendo Switch 2 on September the 3rd. Again, I've said that I'm kind of looking forward to this game. Maybe a little bit more tempered now, because I look at the gameplay, I look at the combat, it looks quite similar to the original Persona, and I've just played the original Persona, and I'm going to be real, I didn't like it. So I'm going to be interested to see if that translates over to Demon School, but still excited for it nonetheless. Turn-based RPG Witchspring R, that's coming to Xbox One. It's also on PS5, Nintendo Switch and PC. Coming out on August 22nd, which is going to launch with its free DLC as well, The Followers Fall. Very good game. SRPG Super Robot Wars Y, that's coming out on PS5 and Nintendo Switch. We're mentioning this because a demo launched on August the 8th, so if you like your big robots and your SRPGs, this could be something worth checking out. I know that a lot of people have actually been looking forward to Super Robot Wars Y, so that's really cool. And last of all, one more to go, which is the Atelier Ryza DX Trilogy turn-based RPG, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch 2 and PC, releasing on November the 13th. Now, here's the kicker. For the West, it is digital only. Kind of expected that. Japan are getting physical versions of the game. I kind of expected that we were only going to get the digital treatment, but apparently the Japanese version does have English support. That's only for the PS4 and PS5 versions. The Nintendo Switch doesn't. And the other kick in the teeth, unfortunately, is that, to be honest, this is such a Koei Tecmo thing to do anyway. If you own the original Ryza 1, 2 and 3, you cannot upgrade them from the base version to the DX version. There's no upgrade path. You have to buy the games again at full price. Again, this is Koei Tecmo. I mean, they're really bad with stuff like DLC. It doesn't surprise me that they've done it with Ryza like this. I won't be buying the games because for the sake of a little bit of extra DLC and all that kind of stuff, I might get myself a physical version if I go to Japan, like one of the premium editions, but I've got no intention to play them again because at the end of the day, I know what these games are all about. I've played them, even though I love the games, especially 1 and 2. For the sake of a little bit of extra DLC, who really cares, really? But retail bonuses are up on the Japanese side of the Gust Personalised shop. And I've also put a link there for Play Asia as well if you want to get yourself a PS4 or PS5 version which has English support. That's what they say. That's what Play Asia said. They said it has English support and they have listed it down on the synopsis of the game. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that is it. Not much more to say. We're done with the news for the first part of August. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks' time for the second part. So take it easy.